Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to people who want to speak more as a way to build their income and grow their business. Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Atkinson. Have you ever wished that the speaking business would get just a little bit easier? Have you ever wanted a path that would be just a little bit shorter? I get it. Booking business day after day, year after year can be a challenge. And so today's show, we're talking about how to book repeat business. That's the first engagement turning into more business, and then you're not always hustling to try to find new clients. Now, our guest expert today is going to be Sarah Mcdonald, and Sarah's on the line with us now. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello. Thanks, Jane, for having me back.
Now, Sarah is the lead coach in our Inner Circle Mastermind, and it makes sense for us to have the Inner Circle Mastermind be the sponsor of this podcast. So let me just share with you all a little bit about how this program works. It is a year-long program designed to help speakers who are at what we call kind of like an intermediate stage of their career. They speak a fair amount but aren't getting the business they desire, or they have a strong business and they just want to move their fee up the ladder more quickly. Acceleration is the theme of this program. And we've got people in it right now who are getting some really amazing results due to our biweekly check-ins, our private coaching, our Facebook page. There's all kinds of really fun things that are happening as a result of this program. So let me just share with everybody, Sarah, the link to it, and then we're going to move into repeat business. Okay, so if somebody is interested in learning more about the Inner Circle Mastermind program, we start again in October, and we run for a year, and you can go to wealthyspeakeru.com and just check on the events page and you'll get up-to-date information there. That's probably the easiest way to get it. We'll do a direct link right in the show notes. Sarah, why do you think it's important for speakers to work their repeat business strategy?
Well, people already love you. They've hired you once. You probably were in the queue along with a number of other rock stars, and here you surface to the top. So not only that, but you've got all of this feedback as to why you were a great fit. So why wouldn't you leverage that to be able to talk about how you can continue to serve? And that's really, I think, for people who are hesitant to go back to their client and to explore repeat business, is they think that they're asking for something that the client maybe doesn't want, or that they haven't asked for. I have to wait to be asked. But what if in fact you were helping them out by not having to get them into that decision-making cycle again, or be able to continue to serve and add to the value that they've already gotten?
I love that you come from this place of service, because I think that that's a mental shift, and that when you go in with that intention, it changes the game. Let me just read everybody your bio again, because I want them to be reminded of who you are. Sarah Mcdonald helps leaders leverage the exponential power of recognition to retain top talent and sustain healthy bottom lines. She holds a Master's of Science in Family Relations and is a certified coach, HR, and OD professional. So there's a lot of letters there. Sarah left her senior leadership role to open a boutique firm called Greatness Magnified. I would challenge the term boutique, because you have just exploded. But anyway, I like that term.
Really noted.
She is an author of numerous articles and 2 books on recognition, with a 3rd coming out next year. What is the title of your big book on recognition?
Forever Recognize Others' Greatness. So that's my brand, actually. So I frog people, as I'm sure we all do. We walk around with little squishy frogs and we say to random strangers, "I need to frog you." It gets very interesting reactions. But yeah, my brand is frog. And so my first book, which I co-authored actually with an amazing person that I used to work with, we just wanted people to have the resources and the tools that we had been using successfully in organizations for years. And we knew that recognition was one of the most underutilized and yet the most accessible and effective strategy to build engagement, greater satisfaction, reduce burnout, all these things that we keep talking about in organizations. And the easiest strategy is right under our nose, and we've been able to do it since we were 5. So that's honestly, Jane, part of why I think my business, you were saying about the boutique piece, exploded. Part of it is because it's filling such a huge need that both the staff as well as the business owners and the leaders have. And it's relatable. And believe me, nobody came to my door asking for a recognition speaker. Yeah. It's just like, nobody was asking for happiness speakers 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. You have to kind of stand tall in what is going to be the next solution that organizations or associations, whoever you serve, what they're going to need. And that's part of what we're talking about around repeat, is just believing so much in the value that you have to offer, and that it's not necessarily contained within 1 hour of a keynote, that there's more people who maybe wouldn't have been to that event the last time, or the message needs to go 1 step deeper or 10 steps deeper. That how can the IP that you have really serve that organization or association to its fullest extent? That probably means you got to come back.
Yes, I love it. I love this. So a great question on the front end, and I want to just recognize something that you do really well if I can get through this thought. On the front end, when you're talking to the client about booking the event, you can ask the question, well, how long would you like this message to last for? Okay, you have this problem. We want to solve that problem. How long would you like this to last for? And then that can tee you up for, okay, great. Well, when we're done, let's schedule a call and we'll talk about my recommendations and next steps. And that kind of tees up what we're about to talk about. But before we go there, in your bio, it says the power of recognition to retain top talent and sustain healthy bottom lines. We're not selling recognition. We're selling that retention of talent and healthy bottom lines. We're selling or solving the problem of turnover. We're solving the problem of, culture and things like that. And so I want people to really understand what problem they're helping to solve as a first step in creating repeat business. Okay. Absolutely. So really be clear on what it is that you're bringing to the table.
Yeah. And when you do that, so when you put that out to the client and you have served that need, and then they say, okay, I actually realize how big the problem is. Because sometimes folks think that it's going to be solved in 1 hour. That, that we really do have the blinders on that, oh, great, you're going to have all the magic for us and we can do it all in that time. Well, sometimes because we are such experts in our field, we help the client to understand just how big that elephant is. You need to wrap your arms around it. And I don't mean we're artificially trying to
make up things.
It's just, we know because we're experts and they have so many things that they need to take care of in their business, or even if they're an expert within the organization, like they're the HR person or the training and development or the event planner, they know a lot about what's going on in their organization, but we know even more about this one specific thing they brought us in to help with. So,
can we really solve the problem of employee turnover in a 1 hour keynote? Hey, perhaps not. Perhaps we're going to need a little bit more time on this. And maybe there are some systems and pieces that we can put into place.
Now, Jane, I just want to add to that and say, because what you're saying, probably not. And I love the fact that you said probably, because I have had superstars come to my sessions and then they will email me or text me or tag me on a Facebook message to say all the things that they've done as a result of hearing it. Or I'll be giving my motivational keynote, which I hardly ever do, but occasionally that's what people want. That's the hole they need to fill, is the motivational keynote spot. Right. And I mention Frog just for 5 minutes, and then they go and they bring Frog to the organization. So in fact, we do have the potential of giving people the tools, the philosophy, just enough hope. I mean, and I use the word hope over optimism, because hope is about believing that it can be better and change without necessarily even knowing exactly how they're going to do it, but they're going to do it. what I guess what we're talking about and where it's probably is that that's maybe 5% of our audience. It's probably not the other 95. And that's not because we don't have amazing people in our audience. They're busy, they're distracted. This may not be a corporate priority for them. It may be so new to them, or they need to think about it that they need more of it.
You know what? I love your pushback on that, because it's true that if somebody really adopted these recognition principles that
Mm-hmm.
you're giving them, it really could shift a culture overnight if
Mm-hmm.
somebody was really kind of driving it. So, you know what? You're absolutely right on that. And that was a good kind of follow-up. Okay, so we're talking about building more repeat business kind of into our strategy and
Mm-hmm.
into our process. What are some of the systems that you have that help ensure that you're going to get repeat?
Mm-hmm. Well, you already mentioned actually is talking about where you asked the question, keyed up with the
Mhm.
question about how long would you like this to last?
Right.
If I don't, let's say I don't get to the chance of even having that conversation, somebody's got a short turnaround time and they need a proposal, I will build in as one of the many things that we could offer as value add that I am going to do evaluations, and you can have up to half an hour of my time for a video conference or a phone meeting. So
Okay.
I'm already planning on
Yes.
telling them what else their audience say that they need. And if I'm not the right person, of course, I can refer lots of my speaking colleagues to them.
Sure. Sure.
So that, I mean, that's part of it, is knowing all of the ways in which you can add value to your clients
Mm-hmm.
and putting them in the proposal from the first place. In fact, one of the people that I just love her model, I know, Jane, you know her, Lori Guest out of
Mm-hmm.
the States.
Yep.
She has a three-tiered pricing, sweet spot pricing, and allows you to put those options in there. The client still feels, because they are in control of what they want, but it also gives you them the visual about all the things that are possible. So it plants a seed. They're saying yes to you, which we know for persuasion, get the client to be saying yes, right?
Sure.
They're saying yes to you. And even if they said no to some of your options, they know that it's possible.
Right. And they can upgrade at any time.
Well, if that's what they want, we'd be happy to help them with that.
Okay, so let's talk about a proposal like that.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're thinking about it. You're always thinking about the second shot, not necessarily. So this is like a pool term, Minnesota Fads I talk about in the book, always teeing up the shot after the one you're taking.
Mm.
You're always thinking about that, and you will often put together a proposal that says,
Yeah.
sure, I can come and do a keynote. That's option A. But let's talk about what some of the pieces in option B and C might be for you.
Hmm. Well, I always put in there that they can have a discount on my books, and the top package always has that all the audience members get a book.
Great.
That I have a couple of virtual programs. Again, they could have one spot as a giveaway. That's an easy thing to put that in there.
All
Or
right.
they could have access to their whole staff or their whole association. That I can do a webinar.
Mhm.
You've got lots of great ideas too. So Jane, if I'm missing any, by all means, please add it in. I mean, I have decks of coaching cards, compliments cards, kudos cards. So all the products that I have built in.
Oh.
If people are curious about how to add products, by the way, you're
Mhm.
welcome to jump over to my website and just take a peek at my store and see how I've built out in a very short period of time lots of products and for people to be able to go even after the event and go, I really like that stuff. Ian,
Mhm.
I didn't buy it at the event, but you can buy it later. So, you
What?
can,
Let's give the URL for your store, and we'll put it, or your website, and we'll put it in the show notes here.
yeah, I think it is www.greatnessmagnified.com/store.
Oh, well, we'll just say Greatness Magnified, and then
Yeah, Greatness Magnified, and then there's the store as well.
okay, great. No problem. Monica will grab that. Okay, so we've got, let's say, keynote, we've got books, we've got virtual program, we've got webinar, we've got products. I really like your
Mhm.
coaching cards and different things. Let's just talk through some of the products that you have, because you have this neat little book that
Mhm.
got made up very, very quickly. Will you sell that as a part of, I think it's kind of a different topic though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my name is recognition, but I've had so many folks generally women, female professional mid-career folks who are in the audience who are sitting there realizing just how undervalued they are by their employer, and they're not hopeful that things are going to get better. That they hear what I'm saying and they're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm ready to start thinking about my own business. And so that little product is actually, it's called Greatness Biz Hacks, hashtag Greatness Biz Hacks. And it's all kinds of tips that people could be thinking about. How could I start a side hustle or a full-time business? And again, this is very much responsive to customers
the
coming
market.
forward and wanting that work. But how, just as for the fact that you've got some of the, super motivated, focused hustle rock stars listening on the line, I'll give the quick secret. So this is, everyone, tangent, but this is for you. How that book got produced was, again, being responsive to your clients, decided to have a full day event. I live in wine country in the water, so I can have full day events here on site. I'm lucky to have that. Not everyone does. But so we had 30 people coming to try to do their business planning for the year because they weren't profitable the previous year or they were ready to launch their business. And so I decided to start a Facebook group and put up just little greatness biz hacks. So here's a tip and here's a tip and here's a tip. A sentence or a couple sentences. And my virtual assistant, my VA said, I wish I had this content when I was starting my business. This could be like a little mini book. And I said, oh, sure. Do you want to put it together? And then the next day she had put it together and then she put it up on Amazon, and we've decided not to print it through Amazon. But I had a cover designed, and that was one day total of my time.
You have a book in your hands, $2 hard cost on it, and boom, you can sell those to people who are interested in that side of things.
Or you can give it away because it's so cheap, Jane. You can give it away and it costs 2 stamps to mail.
Nice. Okay, so let's add to this list. We could also do, of course, some follow-up training. We could do some executive coaching for people who need help getting their recognition skills and leadership kind of honed.
Breakout session.
Yeah, on the same day that you're there, or you could say I'll come back and I'll do a couple more sessions for you throughout the year just to keep this all going. We'll do several webinars. There's all kinds of things that you can be offering up in this next round to make sure that your message really goes deep and your culture gets changed. And you know what I think would be the coolest thing ever is if they were in the boardroom after seeing you speak, Sarah, and they're using the FROG principles. Yeah. Remind us again what FROG stands for.
Forever recognize others' greatness. And I'll tell you how
others' greatness.
I'll tell you how funny that is, because that does happen. I remember I was actually a bureau booking, and so you don't normally hear from the client directly, but the tough love person in the audience, this was actually an executive team, sent me a picture of the frog, the beanie bag frog that one of his clients his colleagues on senior team had sitting on his computer screen when he came in the next day. And he took a picture and the email was, kind of tongue in cheek. Look what you started. So I love that this senior team that would take themselves extremely seriously, as they should. They've got a lot riding on, their successful leadership. And not surprisingly, that group, the bureau, was very surprised that they wanted me back to speak for their whole leadership team. So not even 2 months later, I was back speaking with their whole leadership team, and all the executives came again, and they wanted the exact same talk, except they moved it from a 1-hour keynote to a half day, but they paid another whole rate, my day rates to come back. So that's where, to your point, Jane, when you make your brand sticky, and you have some kind of memorableness to it.
Yes.
Whether it's quirky
language,
like frog, or it just, people just feel so much hope, or feel so, passionate about it, that they want more people to have that. That is one of the I think, gateways to be able to get greatness, great repeat business from folks. is that they say, who else needs to hear this?
Right.
So everyone, please be thinking, if you're not helping your clients sit in that audience going, I know exactly who else needs to hear that, then it's because it's not about selling from the stage as much as it is inspiring them to spread what you have to offer to other people, because they have people with the same pain who may not belong to the same association or be in the same organization, or they've even talked to since last year, but they remember when they had lunch with them, they're experiencing the exact same thing.
Right.
And they think about them in that moment.
Yep.
And you want them to be motivated enough to say, you need him or you need her.
I have a solution for you.
Yay!
And that's what we want, really, is everybody to be out there talking about you and your solution and providing referrals, because really this business is based massively on word of mouth. So I'm not sure if you use this from the platform, but I have something in the book called the Help Me speech.
Oh, sister, I learned from you. Love it.
Okay,
yes.
So right before you close, you're going to say something like, as you can see, I'm very passionate, in your case, about recognition. If you know of anyone who could benefit from this, please come and hand me your business card afterwards. So that's one step. You take it one step further, though, and you have a little half sheet form that people can fill out that says, would you like Sarah to come back, and these are some topics that are potential for her to come back for. What other things are on that sheet that can help you get repeat business?
Yeah, the other thing I just list is the various, not necessarily all my products, but the high level things. So for example, do you think you would like to learn more about coaching, about training, about Sarah's virtual program? I have a membership site to learn more about the Frog Portal, and they can check that off. And then the next question I ask is, so do you need me to contact you, or is there somebody else? In other words, the decision maker may not be the one filling out the form.
Right.
So who would I talk to in your organization or association
about
that? And I've had folks say, I need 2 more evaluation forms because I need you to talk to
people.
people, which I'm happy to oblige.
Sure. Of course.
And if folks are using lead digits or some kind of text message system from the podium, and I'm using it, I have to say, I don't have tons of people pull out their smartphones and do it, but if you don't want to bother with handing out forms, you could say, I have a range of ways in which sometimes folks want to carry this message on. Just, if you want to know what those are, just text this number and I'm happy to send you some information as well as and then offer value, right? So it's not just self-serving. Because of course that will not make the meeting planner very happy if they sniff out a big sales pitch. But
sure.
You can direct them there.
I like it. I like it a lot. One of the things that you could be assessing based on a keynote is, well, it appears that this is at a cultural level. Maybe there's some training that we can do to help really affect some change. Now, typically in a large organization, they would already have something like that underway. There's an initiative. And I would like to refer people to the Greg Schenkel podcast on how to go deep into an organization with massive amounts of training, because how he delivers training on his frontline leadership to manufacturing, that's how you're really, really, really affecting change in a company. Now, you could do that with your recognition, but don't you wonder they'd already have something like that kind of in the works? I mean, that's a big undertaking. I'm wondering if it's likely that it's going to be pushed from the bottom up, or if it's something that, okay, well, we're going to start with a keynote and then we're going to do all of these other things, if it's already a part of the plan.
Well, it's it's such a great question, Jane. And I know one of the things you coach us to do, all the people that work with you, is never make a decision based in fear.
Mm,
And so I just always assume there's more room for recognition. And I know that there is. I know
good.
even if you have embraced it with such abundance in your organization, which by the way, you're converted. And so they're sometimes even easier to speak for. Um, and I've yet to meet that organization, but I can't wait to meet the organization where there's so much recognition they have no room for more,
Yeah,
which is fine.
right.
They'll want other people to experience how amazing it is in their organization to, so they'll want to refer you to people outside, like their brother, their sister, and actually I have had that where clients working in incredible organizations have said, my sister was so jealous that we're talking about this again. I passed on your name to her. So, so there's that piece, but really it's going to be so different about, some people are very networky. And so they will say, you need to speak with my best friend, or my former boss is now the head of this association. Not everybody's like that. I have another colleague, or she's a client. She used to be my colleague and now she's a very good client. And talk about repeat business. She jumps jobs every 18 months because she's constantly climbing the ladder and she has so much value to offer.
Right. And
she's
she's
not
brought
offering
you
value
everywhere she's gone.
and every single organization within the first month, she'll say, we don't have recognition. She is so converted that recognition is important. She'll say, this is ridiculous. People don't know that they're valued. It's terrible that we have terrible engagement scores on that regard. I know the person we need. And so even if it's just one keynote, which it's usually never just one, she always refers me. And in fact, she left a job before I could come in. And the last day of her on the job, she did another follow-up email to say, have you connected with Sarah yet?
Right.
So you can have people who just love what you do and know your value so much that they make the connections happen, whether it's their project or not.
I give you some kudos for that, because she's a client turned friend. And that's you and your relationship building skills. So, be open to that. I think sometimes we might tend to think, oh, this is client, how do I cross the line into friendship with them? And I think you can do both. And it's a beautiful thing. And they do change companies. Now, here is the power of having these people in your database.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it'll be a little tricky to make sure that they stay in your database if their email address changes. So that's a kind of a separate issue. But making sure that if they're hearing from you on a regular basis, I think the biggest compliment I got at our live event that we just did was, I feel like I know you because I hear from you all the time. You give us a tip every Tuesday. You give us a podcast every Thursday. And that's a beautiful compliment. So making sure that you're pulling the people from your audience into your database, into your network, into your fan base, and keeping them there until there's an opportunity to buy from you. That's a great way to get referrals too.
Well, and Jane, part of that too was when you were saying, I don't know if anyone caught the podcast where I interviewed so-and-so, and people were like, oh yes, we've already listened to it. So when you offer such great value through those ongoing outbound, opportunities to serve, I'm not even going to call it marketing. I'm just saying, you do that, Jane, to serve people on an ongoing basis. So when you're continually serving, people will find it. They, even if they switch emails, this particular client that I was talking about, I don't have her in my database. I don't think she's currently, because she just switched jobs a couple of months ago, I don't think she's currently getting my monthly vlog and blog, but she knows how to find me. And in her mind, there's nobody else that's there for the job. Just like, you're my go-to person for speaking. So, you can, I think you can build credibility and trust with people pretty quickly. That particular client is somebody that I worked with. I don't know if everyone is thinking about their former colleagues, neighbors, friends as potential clients who just haven't bought from you yet. And that's, I think, one of our most untapped
Yes.
opportunities is our LinkedIn network, our people. Um, so that, because that's really, I didn't have to pitch her on anything. She just said, could you do what you did when we worked together for my
Yeah.
organization? And she didn't even know it was called recognition at that point. So, and now she's able to, pitch it to the new CEO that she reports to, because she can speak to who I am, but also can speak to what I do and the topic.
And I think training people how to pitch on your behalf is a really important part of this. But let's go to the ask, because let's say we do have a database, and let's say we do have friends and people who we've worked with in the past and people like that. If you're first starting out, you may not have a huge network, but we definitely want to go to where people are warm and friendly to us and ask the question, because they may not know what you're doing. And they may not know the value of what you're doing. So your first thing might be, hey, I didn't know if you were aware, but this is what I'm doing now, and here's the value to it. Do you know anyone who could benefit? Right? So nice open-ended question. That's not really exactly open-ended, but a nice question that will allow them to shuffle through their mental database and go, oh, actually, I do know somebody that needs recognition. Let me do an introduction for you. You have to really educate and tell people probably 2 or 3 times before it will really lock in for them. Oh, you're doing something else now. Okay, I think I get it. And so it might take a series of emails, but also in your regular database, to just go out and say, hey, we've got a new speech. Or did you know that the outcome and the value of this speech is this? I think people don't really ask enough.
I totally agree with you. And, we've got lots of reasons for that. We don't want to be pushy. We concerned about the personal versus the professional. We tell ourselves that we've got enough business, or we have lots of excuses too about how we're so busy doing something and we're not sort of really building the pipeline for next year. And I know, Jane, you and I are working on this, how to really mine the folks that have bought from me, even if it's just one product on my website, how to go back and see if there's some business there. And for those busy speakers or speakers who are intermediate, such as those who are joining us in the Inner Circle Mastermind, that's maybe when you need to bring somebody onto your team, such as a virtual assistant.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can create in an hour a series of autoresponder emails that you can reach out to folks, whether they're people who know you but that you can solve their issue, or that they know you already. And you can automate that through your CRM, right? Your customer relationship management system. Or if you don't have a CRM, you could just send the emails and discipline yourself every Thursday to follow up with folks. So there's lots of ways in which we can have people help us with this. Like, referral repeat business is not necessarily 100% work that we have to do. One of the suggestions that somebody gave, which I thought was brilliant at our mastermind, is he hired somebody as just one project. I don't know if he put a posting up on Canadian Association of Virtual Assistants or if he knew this person, but he said, just get me a list of all of the people in this industry with this kind of, fee schedule and in this position. Just find those people, give me a list, and I'm going to reach out to them. So if you want to be the one to reach out, fabulous. But you don't even have to be. Like, after I'm so inspired by so many people who are doing this, even more intentionally than I am, that my virtual assistant every month is going to start connecting back with folks and tracking that. And we have a series of emails and value that we're going to offer them. And that's not even with a new speech or my book out yet or any of that. So, I hope people aren't feeling like this sounds like a lot of work. I guess that's what I'm trying. That's the long-winded way of saying.
So maybe you want to pick, one thing off of the list of things that we've talked about today.
Yeah.
That you decide to do. So maybe you take the idea of offering 3 packages. Sure, I could come and do a keynote only. That's option A. Option B contains the things that are perfect for you, and option C is the things that are perfect for you, plus a couple of other bells and whistles that you feel like you can add in there. Again, all being perfect. You might try the help me speech when you're on the platform. You might try asking for referrals as a part of your process and follow up with them, or handing the sheets out at the event. You might be talking to clients about going deep into organizations, or really turning around and asking your database or your friends and family how they might help you. The list just goes on. And I think you're right, Sarah. I think people have to decide to not try to do it all, but maybe just pick one thing at a time.
And when you can make this intention to have a repeat business philosophy as part of the work that you're already doing. So for example, at the end of an event, after your keynote, and you go back to that meeting planner and you say, I sincerely hope that was everything you expected. Do you have any feedback for me? If there's anything else that I can do for you, if you get feedback that people really want just another little bit, I'm happy to do a webinar for you, because I want to make sure that this really lands.
Yes. How can we make sure this lands? That's a really good question.
Yeah, and I sincerely mean that. So it's not coming from a salesy place. It's and hardly anybody takes me up on that. However, I can, if they want to engage in a discussion, because in that moment they may just be overwhelmed, and that's fine. But sometimes people say, we're already planning for next year. Well, they've just opened the door for me to say, well, if you think that there's a part 2, or if you want me to dive deeper, perhaps we can do this as a breakout session, and there's other keynotes that I offer. Sure. I'd be happy to do that. If you get responses from your members that you really like this, by all means, let me know. And sometimes they do. So for example, this month I'm speaking at the provincial conference post, a national conference, and there will be some of the same people there, but it was one of the ways in which I think that we get that repeat business is letting people know that they can hire you twice. It's just like, it seems obvious, but they may not be thinking that way.
They may not know it.
But here's the other thing that I found, Jane. I think if there's one thing we need to take away from this call, and I'm going to just say it's ridiculously obvious, and yet it's not always practiced. Be so easy to work with.
Right.
They want to work with you again.
Right.
And that not only helps you get repeat business from your client that you're serving right there, but the bureaus want to put you forward more often. The number of times an agent or a bureau has said, this client has said, you're so easy to work with. They couldn't believe that you kept offering, that you're available. They appreciate that you did this extra thing. Or they'll tell me about how I'm going to drop a few people from my list. I just can't justify putting, I had a bureau tell me, there's this stress and wellness speaker that is the most stressful person to work with. We're dropping this person from our list. I don't think they're supposed to tell me stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who this person is, so I think that's kind of, it's in the vault. But they felt like, I can't put somebody forward, A, that's going to make their life difficult, and B, they don't practice what they preach. That's so what does that make it look like for us? And then there's so much more work on the bureau's part, because they do damage control after. I want the work on the bureau's part, or the agent's part,
to be easy,
and to be, you're fielding delight calls, and can I give you a testimonial rather than damage control. People
who know, like, and trust you. That like part is very, very important. Well, that old phrase, ABS, always be selling. Maybe we should shift it to always be serving.
Oh, yes.
Because I really like, you really come from that philosophy. And I think that just comes through in terms of your intention. And I think that's why people like you so much. And that's why your business has gone from this place to this place so quickly. I want to shift gears for a second as we close and just talk a little bit about our next round of Inner Circle Mastermind, because wouldn't you agree that the group that we have running through right now has been getting some really amazing results?
They are. And one of the things that I think enables that is we give each other ideas that we wouldn't have thought of. It could be about referrals, like, why don't you go back to that person and ask them if could you then go and speak for all their provincial associations? Oh, right, I wouldn't have thought about that.
Right.
Or we'll think of somebody like they've already told me that they never bring people back 2 years in a row, but I think you'd be really great. Here's the contact. So you can really use
community
like that, and you get to know each other at a level about not just what they speak on, but also who they are. And then because nobody wants to recommend somebody that could end up being a bad experience, right?
Yep.
I mean, that point around always be serving. If you think, is this person really going to serve my client? They're a reflection of me. So knowing the folks at the level that we get to know them over the course of a year, and you always helping us to stand tall in our fees and really to be serving. I don't know if that you realize just how much you do that, Jane, that you help us do that, is you remind us about how well we can serve our clients and encourage us to do it before the opportunities missed. That's part of where people are getting so many more bookings and holds this year. And that people some of the people are at such a high caliber, even though they haven't launched their speaking career, they have such a well-established other career, such as we've got an amazing psychologist in our group.
Right.
She doesn't see herself as a seller, but she's so good at what she does. And we're so thrilled that she's offering the world the value that she does. We keep saying, oh my gosh, you've got to keep telling people about that. So she'll tweak her message a little bit. And then sure enough, she'll get the bookings.
Yep.
And then sure enough, she'll stand taller in her fees. And sure enough, so.
I think we're selling confidence in this course.
Totally.
Because when you are more confident, and you know what gives people confidence, and sometimes we work on this at the very beginning, is the clarity. Let's get really clear on what we're selling, and let's massage that so I can move forward confidently. And then that confidence allows people to say, this is what my value is. And almost everybody in the group so far has raised their fees and is sticking to their fees. And that just makes me so happy.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being the lead coach in this group. The ideas that you bring to the table, like what we've been talking about today, have just been tremendous. So people aren't getting just me and my ideas. And even they're not just getting
of experience, so it's pretty darn good. Yeah.
But they're also getting you and your ideas as someone who has done it in the last, say, 5-6 years.
Oh, it's been 3, my friend.
Oh, okay, it's the last 3 years. And then also, though, the ideas from this kind of intermediate level group that we collect. I mean, everybody comes to the table ready to play, ready to give focused hustle. And I just I'm so excited to see this next one starting in October. So if somebody would like to know more about this, go to wealthyspeakeru.com and click on the events, and you will see our link to our Inner Circle Mastermind, which starts in October.
And Jane, do you mind if I make an additional suggestion to that?
Sure.
Is that sometimes folks want to meet people first, experience it. I get that that's, I'm kind of a jump in sort of person, and other people take a step. You offer your Accelerate program, right? Have I called that correctly?
The 12-week?
Your live events.
Oh, yes, for sure. Yes.
So being able to come there to that and see the caliber of people and also to learn, I mean, if that's what you need at that point in your journey, still can, do that. And because I think that we just came off of a very whirlwind, amazing 2.5 days that you put together. And folks have the option, if there are spots left, which there aren't always, but if there are spots left, they can choose to stick around longer and then to join that cohort of folks. So
yes,
I know you're probably going to be telling people in future podcasts that you've got another event planned in February. And I know we have a lot of people coming that's already booking for that. So I'm not sure how many spots are left, but that's a really good way to dip your toe into until you're ready to join.
If you're not sure. Yes, exactly. And part of the value that the people who do join get is that they get to come and meet with their group in February as well. So I'm excited about that. The dates on that are February 22 to 24. So save the date, and that will allow you to at least know if there's a booking that comes up. You'll be seeing the conflict and whether or not you would like to join us in Florida. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for today. We're both like a little bit fried from our
hashtag fatigue, but
our weekend event. We've had a lot. We had exerted a lot of brain power this weekend, and I want to say thank you for being on the show again. And we will look forward to. Thank you for being here, and for everyone else, drop me a line. Let me know if this was powerful for you. And with that, we will say, see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now, everyone. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speakers Show. Please visit speakerlauncher.com for your free Wealthy Speaker audit, and visit speakerlauncher.com/podcast for show notes and many more resources to help you catapult your speaking business. See you soon, Wealthy Speakers.